How's it going, crypto community and XRP Martians? So I'm back with another back of the envelope thoughts video here, and this one is less so on getting your ducks in an order, and instead this video is going to be more so about how I go about developing my understanding of a investment that I'm going to make, right? And so before we jump into that, real quick, if you are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything XRP and investment related. But before we hop into that, also let it be known, I'm not an investment advisor. I'm simply sharing my own investment philosophies and how I choose to participate in this space. You should develop your own strategies. If you borrow from mine, that's your own choice. I am not saying that these are the best. They are simply the ones that I choose to use and have limited experience in determining whether or not whether or not it will be a long-term success for me, right? Now, pardon me. To get into this topic of how I address research, the first thing I always try and do is try and find the most balanced data I can, like the most unopinionated data I can on whatever it is I'm researching. So if I find out about some new crazy technology, the first thing I'm going to do is figure out, okay, who's the creator of this? Is it a person or a company? So I go look up, find out person, company. Oh, there we go. It's a company. So now I'm like, okay, so now that I know it's a company, who's the leaders of that company? I go find out, okay, these are the people behind it. Now I have people. So now I go and find out, okay, who are these people? What are they doing? What are their track records? Do they have a history of success? Yes? Maybe? No? What's the answer to that question? Because the answer to that question is going to determine whether I'm going to waste my time with whatever it is I'm looking into, as far as an investment at least, right? If I can't trust the people behind a company that are the people running a company, how can I trust my investment in that company, right? So when you're researching an investment, the first rule that I follow is find out what they claim to be doing and then get a feel for the team that claims to be doing that thing. So I guess you could even break that up into two rules, right? Separate it out between the what are they doing and the who is doing the thing, right? And then you could go into rule 3, which is who's talking about the thing or talking to that team, who's following them, who's partnering with them, who's negotiating with them. How large of a scale is their rate of adoption already reached? How large can that grow? These are more abstract questions that you'll ask yourself, but these are questions, and they're very hard questions to actually get a solid answer on. If you watch my price video, you'll see that I'm sure that there will be plenty of comments that are going either way, supporting what I'm saying I'm being too conservative or being too bullish, whatever the sentiment of an individual is. And that's fine, that's healthy, that's good. Those people are entitled to their opinions just as much as I am mine. But what you need to understand, more so than anything, is you want to look for fundamental indicators that are going to tell you that there is at least some degree of evidence that what those people are doing, that they're not only doing it well, but they're doing it well enough that other people see value in it, enough so to do business with those other people, right? Because business is people and people. It's just professional people. That's the only difference between business to business and consumer to consumer, or consumer to business, right? is that business to business is a lot more professional, it's a lot more civil, there's a lot of rules involved. And so that's what you have to pay attention to, is who follows the rules the best. Because those are the people that you can trust when it comes to not trying to screw you, right? Like, plenty of people in this space are going to get screwed because they're investing in somebody's shill coin. So that's another thing too, is you so that whole thing was essentially, I guess, rule 3, right? Asking the hard questions and seeing if you can come to any resolution to any of them, right? The idea isn't to come out with a yes or no answer. The question is to come up with a percentage, right? Does it feel like it's 30% bullcrap, 40% truth, and then 20%, bullcrap to the other way? Or 30% bullcrap to the other way, sorry. Is it like 30% bullish, 30% bearish, and then 40% like just straight up facts? And of those facts, how much of that fact is actually good? How much of it is actually bad? And then be like, okay, now I have this data collection of what's going on in this space. I can now say that there is either a better chance of this thing doing good than there is for it to doing bad, or the inverse, that there's a better chance for this to do bad than to do good. And that's risk management, right? And then you move on to rule 5. After you've asked your hard questions, you've done your risk management approach, now you come to the the question of, what kind of investment is this going to be? Is this going to be something that I'm in till retirement? Is this something that I hope to ultimately move entirely from this market into other markets? Or am I just here for Moon Boy Lambos because hashtag lifestyles of the rich and the famous? I really hope that it's not that last one, right? Because if it is, you probably already clicked off. Let's be real. Those people have already left this video. I'm not saying anything they want to hear, right? So those of you who have stuck around, the last rule, after you have decided what kind of time frame you intend to be in whatever investments, whatever investments you make, just be sure that you have done your research and ensure that the bridge that you've built between your knowledge and that space, whatever that space is, whatever that asset is solid enough that you feel comfortable to not just walk across, but to be able to drive, a semi across that bridge, right? Because that's the idea. The idea is to become so confident in your investment that if you really needed to, if you really wanted to, you'd be confident to throw the mass majority of everything you own into it. You don't do that because you're a rational individual and you're somebody who understands that you need to maintain that risk management thing that we talked about in the previous step, right? Or the step 4. So you need to, sorry, I'm mixing up my own steps now, right? So the idea is, though, that you need to figure out what it is that you're in, and then be to the point where you're confident in putting everything in. That way, what you have in it, it doesn't matter if it goes up or down, because you are confident in the long term, no matter what. No matter what happens today, tomorrow, next week, right? You know that in the months and years to come, this is going to do fantastic because of the fundamentals that you have spent your time researching and debating over how legitimate the things that you are seeing are, and determining what you've heard as to, what you're hearing. Is it truth? Is it hype? Is it FUD? Fear, uncertainty, doubt, right? What are you listening to? And is it legitimate? And once you come to those conclusions, that's when it becomes so much easier and so much less emotionally draining and time consuming to obsess over where you're putting money, any amount, just because you don't have confidence. You have to build confidence in order to be an investor. If you lack confidence in an investment, it's a bad investment. That's why most of my time on this channel is dedicated to doing the news and the fundamental research on XRP. And I don't really cover many other assets. I do like to reach out when community members ask for things, to just cover things. And if I do know about something, then I'll be more than happy to delve into it. But the reason that I focus on XRP is because these projects are so enormous that, somebody else out there in the space can dedicate to another cryptocurrency, and there's going to be so much room in the space and so much excitement and interest in these different projects that there's enough room for basically everybody listening right now to go make their own channel on each different cryptocurrency that they believe in, that they don't see a channel dedicated to, and they're probably going to do great, right? That's the reality of what's happening right now because of what's to come in the coming years, right? And so, with all that said, I hope that this has once again, as always, been helpful to you, my XRP Martians. If you're not an XRP Martian, hurry up and become one by clicking that subscribe button. And be sure, especially if you've reached this point, to hit that like and also ring that bell so you can stay up to date to all content that I create and release to you. I hope to create a platform of a reliable platform based upon just honest and honest opinions, where I make it very clear that not only am I not a investment advisor, but I am also just a normal person out here expressing my opinion and nothing more, something that you should hold with a grain of salt. If you find merit in the things that I've said, please do your research on the things that I have said before you really dedicate to any ideals or narratives that I have presented before you. I encourage all my viewers to be rational, self-thinking individuals, right? I encourage discourse in my community, but at the same time, I do request that everybody that does enjoy the debate to remain fact-driven in their approach and not to simply just voice an opinion because they have an opinion, but they don't have data or supporting evidence for, right? So, with all that once again said, I've been Jade Martian. You've been watching The Martian Report. And as always, I'll see all of you in my next video on Mars.